Gilderoy Lockhart will be signing copies of his autobiography, Magical Me, today. I will be taking up the post of Defense Against the Dark Arts teacher. Why? Mr. Weasley drops the cauldron of books and throws himself at Mr. Malfoy. Hey guys! I am Charlotte the Starlet. These are my girls, Angel and Glitter, and this is my little boy Seth. Today we're going to be reacting to Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets by J.K. Rowling. Now, since I am a mystery/thriller writer, I don't just react, I review. And the way I do it is simple. If I like something, I add a point starting from last video's total, and if I don't, I'll take graph. Right, let's jump in. As Harry's about to leave, the last two people Harry wanted to see just happened to walk into the shop. Draco Malfoy and his father. This shop has stuff like a withered hand laying in a glass case on a cushion, a blood-stained pack of cards, and a staring glass eye. Evil-looking masks slid down from the walls, and an assortment of human bones lay upon the counter. Okay, so we are at the point where Harry is lost in a shady alleyway. Like he was trying to go to Diagon Alley, but it went a bit wrong. Right, apparently the street he's on is called Nocturne Alley. Oh, this place really don't sound right. So he just left a shop called Borgin and Burke's, which had all kinds of scary stuff in it, and some of the other shops on the street seem to be just as shady. Even the people there are shady. Like when Harry first exits Borgin and Burke's, it says that there were two creepy, shabby looking women watching Harry and whispering to each other about him. Oh my gosh. And then another witch comes up to him, asks whether he's lost, and seems to offer him a tray that was holding human fingernails. Or so it seemed, at least. Oh, thank goodness. A familiar face shows up just in the nick of time. Hagrid shows up. Ooh. The woman holding the tray of fingernails screams as Hagrid approaches them. Hagrid grabs Harry by the scruff of his neck and knocks the woman's tray of fingernails down to the ground. Damn. Hagrid's kinda gangster. Okay, good. Hagrid manages to lead Harry right to Diagon Alley, which doesn't seem too far away from where Harry was. It's literally just like he took a wrong turn. Or in this case, took the wrong fireplace. Hey, that rhymed though. Bars. Anyway, yeah. So Harry tries to explain to Hagrid what he was doing down there. And in turn, he asks Hagrid the same thing. But apparently Hagrid was just down Nocturne Alley because he needed flesh-eating slug repellent. Apparently these slugs are ruining the school's cabbages. And then they set off to find the Weasleys. Hermione! Oh my gosh! Hagrid and Harry run into Hermione just as she's exiting Gringotts Bank. Oh my god! This is just one big reunion! Because just as soon as Harry says that they're looking for the Weasleys, they turn up. After they all meet up, Hagrid leaves them and sets off somewhere else. So as the rest of them head into Gringotts, Harry tells Ron and the other Weasleys about how he saw Draco and his father at Borgin and Burke's. And as soon as he says that, Mr. Weasley kind of pokes his nose in and he's like, did he buy anything? And when Harry tells him that he was only selling, Mr. Weasley quickly concludes that he's worried, you know, about what the Ministry of Magic are doing. Like, they're basically cracking down on stuff. I'm not 100% sure if I'm honest. But basically, Mr. Malfoy had some things that he shouldn't have lying around his house and wanted to get rid of them. And since Mr. Weasley works for the Ministry, he's interested. Oh, damn, he's more than interested. Like, he admits that he would love to get Lucius Malfoy in trouble for anything, really. Just so he can get the satisfaction. Oh, I just clocked a little bit of a writing sin. When Mr. Weasley asks about the Malfoys, J.K. Rowling wrote, "Did Lucius Malfoy buy anything?" said Mr. Weasley sharply. And then just 4 lines later, she puts, "You be careful, Arthur," said Mrs. Weasley sharply. She used sharply twice in the space of a few sentences. Like I said, it's a bit of a writing sin. It's a very small, minor, insignificant sin, but still a sin. Like, when you're writing, you're meant to try and diversify your word choice. Besides, using adverbs like sharply for a dialogue tag these days is frowned upon. Like, I don't think it was so much of an issue when this book was written in, bear with, 1998. The year I was born, bruh. 23 years ago. Whoa! So, yeah, writing standards were a little different back then. Damn, I can't believe that. This paper is as old as I am. Mind-boggling, bruh. Anyway, Harry and the Weasleys take money out of their vaults and head back outside onto Diagon Alley. Then they kind of split up. Percy goes to buy a new quill. Fred and George wander off with one of their school friends, Lee Jordan. Mrs. Weasley and Ginny go to a second-hand robe shop. And then Harry, Ron and Hermione stick together. So, after an hour of wandering around Diagon Alley, they all meet at Flourish and Blotts to buy their new books. As they approach the shop, they see a sign up in the window that says, Gilderoy Lockhart will be signing copies of his autobiography, Magical Me, today, 12:30 to 4:30 p.m. Gilderoy Lockhart, the guy they need all of their school books from. Damn! Because this Lockhart guy is gonna be signing books, there is a massive crowd at Flourish and Blotts. Oh my god. It says that the crowd seemed to be made up of mostly witches around Mrs. Weasley's age. They're his prime demographic, or target audience. We already know Mrs. Weasley's a fan, but what is the appeal? Bruh, even Hermione's a fangirl. Like, when they see this sign, she squeals excitedly about getting to meet this guy. Mrs. Weasley and Ginny are already there, so Harry, Ron and Hermione can kind of squeeze into the line because they're with them. Oh my days. Mrs. Weasley is legit in a tizzy. They're all in the queue waiting to get their autograph from Lockhart, and the whole time it says that Mrs. Weasley sounded breathless and kept fixing up her hair. She legit has a crush on this guy. Why is he so popular with females, it seems. Oh, right. So, slowly but surely, they get closer and closer to where the man himself is sitting and signing. Oh my god. It says that Gilderoy Lockhart was seated at a table surrounded by large pictures of his own face, all winking and flashing dazzling white smiles at the crowd. His description says Lockhart was wearing robes of forget-me-not blue, which exactly matched his eyes, and his pointed wizard's hat was set at a jaunty angle on his wavy hair. Oh my days. Not only that, but there's also a miserable looking photographer dashing all around the place, taking pictures that emitted a puff of purple smoke every time it flashed. Oh, apparently he's with the Daily Prophet. The photographer tells Ron to get out the way because he's messing up his shot, and Ron just mumbles "big deal" under his breath, like he couldn't care less. But Lockhart heard him, so his attention gets drawn to his direction, and as he sees Ron, he also sees Harry. When Lockhart recognizes Harry and calls him out, the crowd parted. Lockhart dives forward and yanks him over. And for some reason, the whole crowd claps. Then Lockhart makes Harry pose with him for the camera so that the Daily Prophet can get a shot of them shaking hands. Oh my gosh, ew. Lockhart seems like such a creep. Like when he and Harry are taking these pictures, it's like he's got this plastic smile plastered on his face, and he's just like, "Nice big smile, Harry." Honestly, he goes on to say, "You and I are worth the front page." Is that all he cares about? No. And then after that, Lockhart decides to make a speech. He stands up and says how this is a whole big old extraordinary moment, and it's also the perfect time for him to break some news that he's been keeping to himself for a while. Oh my days. First he announces how he's also gonna be presenting Harry with a copy of his autobiography free of charge. And once again, the whole entire audience claps and cheers. Then he says that not only is Harry going to be getting his book, but he's going to be getting a lot more than that. What does that mean? He and his schoolfellows will in fact be getting the real magical me. Surely not. Come on. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, I have great pleasure and pride in announcing that this September I will be taking up the post of Defense Against the Dark Arts teacher at Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry. Why? Could Dumbledore really not find anyone better? Or did Lockhart fight his way in? And of course, that sends the whole crowd over the moon. Anyway, so during that speech, Harry finally managed to get away from Lockhart and out of the spotlight. When he goes back to the Weasleys with his books, Harry gives all of them to Ginny. He knows that she needs them more than he does, and he can easily buy new ones. How sweet is that? No! Oh my days. As if this wasn't bad enough, just as he did that, he hears a familiar voice behind him say, "Bet you loved that, didn't you, Potter?" Famous Harry Potter. Can't even go into a bookstore without getting recognized. Of course, it was the infamous Draco Malfoy who said that. Honestly, he's a bit obsessed with Harry, isn't he? Aww. Ginny tries to stand up for Harry. It's literally the first time that Harry's heard her say anything. Right. Now Ron's come over and Draco remarks that he's surprised to see any of them in a shop. And then he suggests that buying all these books will make the Weasleys go hungry for a month. And Ron pounces on him as soon as he says that. Or at least he tried to. Like, he had 3 or 4 people holding him back, bro. The one who actually gets him to calm down is his dad. Oh my... No. Just as Mr. Weasley suggests that they leave, someone else arrives. Lucius Malfoy, Draco's dad. Mr. Malfoy and Mr. Weasley coldly acknowledge each other. And then Mr. Weasley comments about how he must have been busy at the ministry with all the raids they're conducting. He asks Mr. Weasley if the ministry are paying him overtime for these raids. And then he reaches into the Weasleys' cauldron of books they've bought, pulls out a battered old second-hand one, and then he's just like, I guess not. The audacity, bruh! Wow. Then he's like, what's the use of being a disgrace to the name of wizards if they don't even pay you well for it? Oh my days. It's no surprise Draco acts the way he does. If this is what his dad is like, Mr. Weasley tries to fight back by saying that they clearly have different ideas of what's a disgrace. And then Mr. Malfoy eyes everyone else, like Mr. Weasley's kids and Hermione and Harry. And then he's like, I thought you could sink no lower. Like, what the hell? As soon as he says that, Mr. Weasley drops the cauldron of books and throws himself at Mr. Malfoy. He knocks him backwards into a bookshelf, making dozens of books fall down on both of their heads. Damn, I didn't think Mr. Weasley had that in him. Oh my god. This is devolving into chaos. Like, everyone's yelling, everyone's knocking over more bookshelves. Oh, but thankfully, once again, Hagrid turns up in the nick of time. So, Hagrid breaks up the fight, pulls Mr. Weasley and Mr. Malfoy apart. The Malfoys leave, while Hagrid and Mrs. Weasley scold Mr. Weasley for attacking Mr. Malfoy. Hagrid tells him he should have just ignored him, but honestly, I'm kind of on Mr. Weasley's side. I don't blame him for going at Mr. Malfoy like that. I'd be tempted to as well. Mrs. Weasley really is upset though. Like, she's talking about how he's meant to set an example for his kids to follow, and she hates to think what Gilderoy Lockhart must have thought. Lockhart loved the fight. Like, Fred overheard him asking the Daily Prophet journalist if he could work the fight into his story about him. You know, just to drum up some publicity and clout. Anyway, after that, they all leave the shop and split up once again to go their separate ways as they head home. That is where the chapter ends, so that is where I'm gonna leave it for this episode. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to give the like button and the notification bell a little kiss, and subscribe to become a Starlet. Don't forget to follow me on Snapchat, Twitter, Instagram and Tumblr. And if you have read something that you want me to react to, let me know in the comments. I'll see you guys later. Bye!